Okay, so here is section 3.1. We're going to embark on the cell. It's going to start off with the cell theory. So the key concept to keep in mind is that now the cells are the basic unit of life. So the cell theory basically grew out of the work of many scientists, as you guys can see at least 5 of the scientists' pictures below. And so, in a nutshell, Van Leeuwenhoek invented the microscope. There's a cute little picture of him there on the right. Robert Hooke, as you guys probably know, is the scientist who came up with the name cells. He found cells in what we know as cork, and that's kind of where he started. Schleiden discovered that all plants are made up of cells, and Schwann discovered that all animals are made up of cells. Virchow, basically his claim to fame is that he discovered that all cells come from pre-existing cells, and I'm thinking at least one of you will think to yourself, well, if all cells come from pre-existing cells, where did the first cell come from? And one of the theories behind that is when, as you guys know, proteins are made up of amino acids, and we discussed how proteins, based on the amino acid sequence, their structure is different, so their function is different, and they believe that a possibility is that at some point when the amino acids were linking to the proteins and forming those polymers, that one of the amino acids got, basically screwed up. And then, lo and behold, we had our first cell. So that's one of the theories. There's a couple of different ones, but I figured you guys could relate to that one in particular, since we just spent a whole chapter on amino acids and proteins and monomers and polymers and all that good stuff. So, as I said, many scientists have contributed to this, the cell theory, and we continue to learn more and more about cells, especially as microscopes have improved. There's several different microscopes, from your basic light microscope to an SEM, a scanning electron microscope. So what I want you to know is that the cell theory, which I'm going to tell you guys in a second what that is a unifying concept of biology. So the cell theory has 3 principles. Number 1, and this is key, make sure you guys write this down, and this should probably be a flashcard for those of you who are going to do that LO. A cell theory has all organisms are made of cells. All existing cells are produced by other living cells. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is that the cell is the most basic unit of life. From the last chapter, you guys learned that the atom is the most basic unit of matter. The cell is the basic unit of life. You guys need to make sure you can differentiate between the definition of an atom and the definition of a cell. So we have 2 types of cells: prokaryotic cells, which lack a nucleus and most of all the fun internal structures, and then we have eukaryotic cells. However, all cells share certain characteristics. They tend to be microscopic. We're not really going to see them unless we look in a microscope. They are typically all enclosed in some type of a membrane. And all cells are filled with what we call cytoplasm. So here we go. There's the 2 types. Here's the prokaryotic, and here's a beautiful picture. These types of cells do not have structures enclosed by membranes. There's not a lot to them. They're pretty much your one-celled organisms, known as bacteria. There's only a couple internal structures you can see here. They have a cell membrane, a cell wall. There's flagella, which are these squiggly little things that help it move. There's some ribosomes, which deal with proteins, and then there's nucleoid, or DNA. Okay, notice there's no nucleus. When you go to the eukaryotic cells, these contain organelles. This is what you guys think of when you think of cells, and these are in most living organisms. Note how the plant cell over here on the left is a lot different than the animal cell here on the right. And there's also a lot of similarities in terms of the organelles. And we're going to get into the differences between the animal and the plant. Here's an animal cell, just for you guys to look at, and all the organelles inside of here, and you guys are going to get a chance, contain the excitement, to learn about all of the different organelles, from the ER, the smooth ER, rough ER, Golgi apparatus, the mitochondria, all types of stuff. Your typical plant cell here in green, it's green because, well, there's what's called chloroplasts. And so obviously with green there's photosynthesis, so we're going to talk all about that. We're going to talk about all these different types of, again, here's the rough and the smooth ER, nucleus, nucleolus, vacuoles, all types of stuff. So that's pretty much section 3.1. The key is to make sure you know the 3 parts of the cell theory, and make sure you understand the difference between a prokaryotic and a eukaryotic. You're going to see on Moodle there's a required activity you all need to do. So if you happen to have glanced at it during fall break and you want to kind of knock it out, it involves some reading of a couple of biographies of some scientists and basically creating a timeline, however you want to do that. And that's going to be due so you guys know next Monday, November or October 29th, I think. I don't know, whatever next Monday is. So enjoy your break, and I will see you guys in class on Wednesday.